Hello and welcome everybody to the latest edition of the Buy Round Interview Show. Now I'm joined today by someone who I've never actually played with, but I feel like I know an incredible amount about this person's life, all through our mutual friend Jeremy Latimore, who, as you probably know, Jimmy Maloney is an oversharer. So there's probably personal elements of your life that it's probably secrets, in fact, that I know that I'm not going to bring up, but I feel like I know about you. It's like, oh,
yeah, okay. Right.
Yeah, yes.
I'm sure they're all good ones.
Very much so. How are you, mate? Thanks for coming on, by the way. We really do appreciate it.
Yeah, not too easy, mate. I'm going good, living life up in far north Queensland at the moment, and enjoying the new challenge in my life of coaching. So.
Yeah, and you got the podcast coming soon as well. Is yourself? Talk to us about this podcast that you started.
So they're shooting it later today. The first episode. Obviously, you've already brought up Jeremy Latimore, a good mate of mine. He sort of bugged me when I was in France. I think he was looking for a 17th income stream in his life, and he called me up and he said, Jimmy, do you want to come, when you come back, do a podcast? And I said, no, everyone does podcasts, that's shit. And then anyway, so we're doing a podcast. So we jumped in with the professor, James Maloney, and Toby Rudolph from Cronulla. So be an interesting mix, mate. So we'll just shoot the breeze and see what happens.
Yeah, Jeremy is an over-preparer. So obviously the podcast that I think you're trying to do, very laid-back style. I caught up with him the other day. I just mentioned something. I said, I think Origin's around the corner. It might be worth asking Maloney about what it's like. He said, I'll add that to my notes. I'm like, hey, mate, you've got a page of notes for things to talk about on episode 1. Yeah. Like, Jerry, there's 4 of you on there. Your talking time.
I think it's Jeremy's show, and we're just on it.
You're just on Jeremy's show.
It's been an interesting, I suppose, the avenue to get there, because I was wasn't expected to be going up to Townsville, which sort of put the distance in it. And Latsy, as you know, is very organised and wants everything done. And he goes, what are we doing here? And I was like, I don't know, mate. Just let me know and I'm sweet, whatever, And then he'll say, have you done this? Have you done that? No, mate, I'll do it. And he gets very frustrated, old Jeremy, but he's a very, very rigid. He likes his life ordered, and that's not me.
No, in case you hadn't noticed, he's been off the piss for 8 weeks. So he's told basically everyone, like, that's the first thing he says. He's been off the piss for 8 weeks. So that makes it, so he's not rough. So it makes him even more in that frame of mind of like, and if you're not living that life, it's it's Jeremy Judgemore, like looking down, and you're like, how can you not be prioritising this? Like, well, we've got all the shit going on. You know what I mean?
I prioritise fun over you waking up early in the morning, you boring nerd.
I'll take that. Well, speaking of being a boring nerd, I called him. I was like, I've got Jimmy coming on. Can you just remind us of some of the stories you told about him? And he's like, oh, no, I've got to keep them. Got to keep them for the journey, man. I'm like, mate, like, and then he tells me stories that I can't bring up. I'm like, I'm not going to bring that up with him. Like,
they're not friendly.
They're not for publication. They're like they're supposed to go to the grave, Jeremy. You probably shouldn't be telling me these. Anyway, He, to be fair, he did give me a couple, but I think he saved all the gold for that podcast. So, I'll look forward to. Yeah,
I'll look forward to see what he comes up with. Actually, high expectations he set.
It should be fun. Hey, can I ask you a question? What was he like in New Zealand? Because I two very similar countries, but there is a bit of a cultural difference.
Yeah,
and I just can't. I remember being there with him once, and I was like, Jerry, I can't imagine you living here. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, like the big, like
the big baby giraffe.
Like walking around, and he gets, and being younger as well. When I'm going to assume he was a bit looser. I just can't imagine him living there.
There's the first thing when you said him in Auckland, I remember when we first both went over there. So me and Latsy basically knew each other from Parramatta. When we both signed at Parramatta, he'd come from Cronulla and I'd just come from North Sydney or whatever, and we got put as roommates in the Parramatta units. So then, since then, we've been really good mates. And we got over there, so I'd agreed to go over, sign with the Warriors from Melbourne. And then later on, Latsy called me and he goes, I'm coming to New Zealand, mate. I was like, swear to God. He was like, yeah, I'm coming. I was like, okay, awesome. How good's this? So at the start, can't remember what happened. So I went over, obviously I was with Jess and Jess was pregnant and that. So we went over, she come over, and I think maybe Nat didn't come over straight away. And then because you get relocation money and that to start at the start. So we went, we'll just halve our relocation. We'll live together down this viaduct in the one.
Oh,
so we went back in.
The two of you?
Yeah, and then my missus, because she was over there, so we had that for like a month or whatever while we found our own places and that. And then, I remember we went out one night and I don't know what happened, but this sort of little altercation, not a major one or anything happens, but ended up outside and we're all a bit pissed or whatever, and someone's blowing up. And so then Latsy goes, it's all right, mate, I'm sorry, I play with the Warriors. We hadn't played a game. We just got there and I went, that is the stupidest thing you could possibly say. Why would you say that? Like, it's not going to save you if you've annoyed them.
Yeah.
And
also you're making you're dropping yourself in the shit.
Yeah. So it was all a bit, I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe he does, mate, I don't. So, but that was an interesting one from old Jeremy. Where
how was living with him for even just a month?
I think if you asked him, we had 2 years together at Parramatta and he probably struggled more living with me than I did living with him. Latsy's pretty, tidy and, as he is with he's organised and stuff like that. And it used to drive him mad because I'd be like, we had a mattress on our lounge room floor and he'd go to bed early and all that. And if I wasn't there, so I'd be watching TV and then in ad breaks I'd have like a tennis ball and I'd just be like throwing it over at the wall and back and catching it in ad breaks because I think I've got like that undiagnosed ADD and just sort of do. And then Latsy you'd hear from his room, are you fucking serious, mate? I'll go, sorry, bro, sorry. And then the next ads would come on and then I'd forget about it. And I'd straight just go that, you're taking the fucking piss. And then he'd come out and he'd rip the ball off me and storm back into his room. So, yeah, we had some good times, but a lot of fun.
I think from what I'm gathering with you, you're consistent. But with Jerry, he's up and down. So when he'd be up for it, he'd be throwing the tennis ball with you. When he's down, you're like, oh, how could you possibly do this?
Yeah.
Like, He's
mood swings.
Very mood swingy. Very mood swingy. We'll touch back on a little bit your footballing career, but the coaching gig, how are you finding it?
Yeah, mate, it's different. Obviously, it's another challenge. I suppose the thing I'm learning is the technical stuff I don't find hard, and I suppose any coach that it's not hard to sort of teach the technical stuff of what you want to do, explain that. I think the mental side and understanding 30 different personalities and what drives them and what triggers each one of them, I think that's the real challenge. And obviously the difference between, the really good coaches and the coaches that don't have as much success is that's probably where the difference lies, I'd say. And, I suppose that's a big learning curve for me and something that I need to sort of keep developing as I go on.
Like man management skills, so like knowing which buttons to push, knowing when someone's down and out of form, how to explain to them, like maybe just dial it back a little bit. Is that what you're referring to?
I think just understanding, like it's, it's like if things aren't going well, there's, understanding that if you get up a player, player A, that will get a good response from him and that will get you what you want to do. But if you do that to player B, then that might go the other way and all that. And at the end of the day, all your role is as a coach is to bring the best out of each player.
Yeah.
So there's no point if what I'm doing is not going to get the desired response, then there's no point doing it. So then that's a whole challenge. But that's got, you've got 30 odd in your squad. You've got 30 different personalities that will trigger, have different ways they like to be approached. Some, you got to cuddle a bit and, stroke their ego a bit because that gets the best out of them. Others you can be quite blunt with. Others so I think knowing all that and, that takes time after obviously getting to know guys. And then there's obviously guys that have things going on away from football that, if you're not aware of and different things like that. Like it's a real skill and doing all that, and I suppose you understand I've been lucky that I've been coached by quite a few different ones and I understand the different approaches of who, how different people or different coaches approach me, but also I'm just one personality, so I know how they dealt with me, but how do they deal with everyone else and the bits that you don't see and all that. So I think that's the constant challenge and, the mental aspect of how you get consistency out of everyone's performance and not go from here one week to then here next week to here this week. Like how do you develop that and how do you bring it all closer together?
Yeah, close that gap.
Yeah.
Speaking of personality, has it changed your personality?
Look, I think I've naturally sort of, as I got older, grown up a little bit, like a little bit, not heaps, but I still think it hasn't changed my, my core beliefs around coaching and stuff that I still thoroughly believe you have to enjoy what you're doing. I believe that when I was a player and I believe that as a coach still. I think happy players play good football. I believe that as a player and I believe that as a coach. So there's still different things there, but obviously it's the relationship between player to player and coach to player is a different relationship. Yeah. So always knew and understood it. Like if you were to finish playing and try and coach the same group you finished, I feel like that's a really hard thing to do because you can't just come back after a preseason and change that relationship. So there's definitely an awareness that the relationship I have with the players up there is not a player-to-player relationship. It's a coach-to-player relationship.
Yeah, it must be quite interesting to actually catch yourself in that situation where like, shit, I'm not one of the boys here.
Yeah.
I'm a coach.
Yeah. Well, you're still still have a laugh and a good time, but just, always knowing that there's a tier there. Yeah. You're not on the even playing fields and you need to hold that, so, yeah.
What would James Maloney, the coach, say to James Maloney, the player?
A lot of people have asked me that since I've become a coach. Like, how would you coach yourself?
Yeah. And
I'd say I'd enjoy it because we'd be winning. So I could handle. It would be like coaching a bloke that, might have not done everything right, but if he turned up and played good every week and got you on, and I'm not saying I did play good every week, but I feel like majority of times, maybe the fact that I was in good sides maybe made me look better than what I was. I don't know what it was, but hey, we had some good times and we won, and I think we would have had some fun. That's for sure. Anyway,
would you, the coach, give James Maloney, the player, as much rope?
Yeah.
And as long as the lead as maybe what some coaches gave you.
Yeah.
Or would you be like, I'm going to shorten this prick in?
Nah. I think look, I obviously had 12 months down with Craig Bellamy, and I got on really good with Bellyache. Like, he understood me and understood what I was like and different things like that, and, then Trent Robinson and Ivan and all these different coaches, I think, that understood me, but then that got the best out of me because they knew they didn't, there was no point them trying to bash their head against a wall or say, do this, do that, or whatever. Like they understood where they needed to draw boundaries and say, look, this is, okay, you need to pull it in here. But then other times to like give them rein. And I suppose that's the key with any sort of coaching, as we were just saying, about different personalities. And the idea at the end of the day is to get the best out of every player. So however you do that, then that's the approach you need to take.
Would you say you're more creative? Because I think that's a strong personality trait, that if you put boundaries around, they go insane and they rebel. And I've been with a lot of players like you in my time, and I've been with players that if you put a booze ban on, they go out. If you say go out, they say it's a joke, we need to be on a booze ban. Like almost like rebels, but that creative spark where it's like, almost like a rebel without a cause / creativity. And the more you box people in like that, the more it just, they implode and they make bad choices.
Yeah, I don't know if it's creative or what, but I did feel like I thought, and not always with me or coaches I had, but I just feel like, especially footballers and that, you used to, like, if you treat them like kids, they'll act like kids.
Yes.
That's sort of what always me sort of thing. And I was like, we're not kids, we're adults, don't sort of tell me what to do sort of thing. I didn't like being told what to do. Not that I know what you're saying. Not like told what to do in sort of way, but like, so one thing I used to like.
You need that freedom.
Yeah, one thing I used to despite, okay, so after in footy and that, when you play away games, all right, sometimes after a loss, the coach would go, that's it, no one's going out. And I go, tell me another job in the world where when you knock off on Friday afternoon, your boss goes, you can't do that on the weekend. There's not any. I said, mate, I've done my job. Whether we didn't get the job done, or regardless, and it would only ever get done on away games because they could tell because everyone had to come back to the hotel.
And they control.
If you were going back to your home and you played at home and everyone was going all to their own house, they don't know what you're doing when you're getting home and all that sort of stuff. So that was like this one thing, just I used to always just be like, don't treat us like kids. Like, well, okay, we didn't get the result. It wasn't through lack of trying or whatever. We did this, but yeah, that was sort of my mentality. It might not be the correct mentality, but that was mine. And I think I've got an understanding and appreciation. As I said before, I still strongly believe that happy players play good footy.
Now, it's interesting you say that, because I think that works for you, but it doesn't work for everyone. But that said, if you give people the freedom and people the empowerment to make their own decision, like within that playing group, there's a few that after a loss, they go out and they let their hair down, they enjoy themselves because they are scales tippers, where they work so hard during the week and they feel like it's a release.
Yeah.
But some, if you give them that freedom, it's not, hey lads, let's go out. It's, no, choose what you want to do. And some go, well, you know what? I had a shit game.
I don't want
to go out.
100%. And that's,
or you know what? I need to recover.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
And that's the choice, as I said, by not saying this is it, you must do this. And, we used to have, remember at the Roosters, we used to go, and by the time I went to the Roosters, so I had young kids or whatever, I had 2 young kids and stuff like that. So I wasn't going out all the time. And then all the time, like say, I think it was like maybe 2 weeks before the season finished, and then the 4 weeks of semi. So it was 6 weeks sort of before GF. Like they'd all just go, oh, righto, why don't we all just get off the piss? We'll give it a real good, put our best foot forward, and they go, everyone who agrees, like hand up, and all the boys, yeah, everyone who doesn't agree. And I went, and I'm the only bloke with my hand up. And they go, what do you mean? Like, Jimmy, just buy in. I said, mate, I don't go. If you're talking about the decision to go all out to win the Premiership, I said, I'm doing that. I said, but don't sit here and tell me, like, I don't go out every weekend. I've got young kids and stuff like that. I said, but if I'm at a barbecue and I want to have a couple of beers, then there's no harm in me doing that. That's not me going against, oh, yeah, we want to go all out to do this, you know. So I said, I will have a few beers, but I'm not going to sit there and go, yeah, I'm on a booze ban, and then also do that.
Yeah.
Because that's not my personality either. If I'm not going to go around and do it behind your back and do it, but I will sit there and say, no, I'm not, this is what I'm going to do, and front up and say, that's it. And then, yeah, that's how we...
Again, that's interesting on the different levers that you pull and the dials that you tune up and down on different players, because some personalities... They need an element of sacrifice, and they need an element of abstaining for something that they enjoy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So for you, that wasn't your personality type or how you be coached. But for some, they'd be like, I've quit the piss for this.
And it gives them the drive.
And I'm like, I'm going after it. And some, it's like, I need to sacrifice something.
Yeah.
But it's really interesting that how... It's not a cookie cutter approach to success.
No,
like
exactly
it goes so much deeper than that. And I think you're right where you said the best coaches, they're the best man managers. They know what, and you know what, the other 29 members of the squad may have gone on booze bans and not done it. Some of them may have sneakily got it done, but you know the best quality of that is your ability to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. And then I would say to the boys, I said, look, if you think that getting off the drink is your best way, mate, I'll support you 100%. Yeah. Like, I'm for it. I said, it's just, that's it. And exactly that. I don't think it needs to be a blanket, you know, everyone under the same mould. You need to all be run by the same guidelines or the same... I don't know how you do the same rules or the same standards, I suppose. Standards,
principles.
So you can't hold certain guys to one standard and other guys to another. But yeah, it's your standard across what you did. And we would have, remember at the Roosters, like that was probably our most basic, that our drinking rules were just like, we don't drink on short turnarounds.
Yeah.
So short turnarounds, no one drank, and that was fine. It was, it's about recovery. All right, 7 days or more, up to you, whatever. And that was like the most basic, easy thing and that was held to a standard that no one would do that.
Yeah, that's a non-negotiable standard.
Yeah, that was non-negotiable.
Yeah.
But then other things that were coming after, and then that was what was spoken about when everyone goes, we'll get off the booze. And hold on, we set our standards for alcohol at the start of the year. Like, why are they changing now? No, or not. So
Did you find it difficult to tell the truth?
No, not really.
Because a lot of people, a lot of people do. A lot of people just go with the flow and very easily influenced by the weight of others, and are so influenced by, well, if that person's I better put my hand up.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been that sort of person. I don't find that hard to do. I just go, well, this is it, or I think I'll think this, I'll do that, but might be wrong, might be right, but that's what I think.
That's what I think. Yeah. I think it's something within players is about being honest and truthful, and if they think something differently, fucking say it.
Well, I think it's in football and in rugby league, it's the biggest, like it's the most important thing. Everything you do in rugby league is built on trust. Yeah. So I think that is it's the most important thing going forward about everything. It's like if you're moving in defence and you need to trust that he's going to do that, trust that. If you got the ball, you need to trust that he's going to turn up where he needs to. Like everything you do in football is based around trust. So I just think that's another, like it's a non-negotiable. You need to have trust in each other. If you don't have trust in each other, then you're not going to be any good.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's absolutely fundamental. In terms of coaching, bizarre circumstances. You were coming back from France. I think, like a lot of us, I assumed, Maloney's coming back from France. Knew a little bit through Jeremy. And I thought, you'd be going into a role in the media, and then all of a sudden this opportunity pops up, and you land at the Cowboys. Was it as chaotic and as like circumstantial as what they say?
Yeah, it was. I basically had a conversation with Robbo. Robbo reached out to me once he sort of heard that I might be coming back, and said, you know, what are you looking to do? What do you want to do? I said, look, I think I want to get into coaching. You know, maybe doing an assistant coach or something. And Robbo, he basically just said to me, you know, straight up, he said, look, I don't have a full-time assistant role for you here, but I've got the next best thing, you know. So basically he said, go and have a look and see if you can get an assistant coach gig, and if you can, you know, do that. But if not, come back and, you know, we've got the next best thing. You know, we hadn't worked out whether it would be through halves, whether it be in their academy, whatever. But he sort of said that to me. So I only spoke to a few coaches that I knew and I had faith in. I had no interest in sort of going to a club that wasn't going to perform well and didn't have a whole lot of faith in the head coach or whatnot. So spoke to a few, nothing really available for this year coming back. So I just sort of went, all right, sweet. I'll go back and I'll, you know, do some stuff with Robbo and pick up some stuff around that. You know, hadn't sort of worked out what it was going to be, and I'd literally been back in the country 2 days and went out to the school out at Penrith or whatever, where the kids were going to go back into. Spent the day with them, organising them all in for school and getting them ready to start on the Monday. I think it was like a Thursday. They were going to start following Monday, and then afterwards we went, I'll go get a feed at Frango's out there at Penrith, and walk in, and Isaac Moses walked in, and I said, oh, hey, mate, what's going on, you know, how you been? Blah, blah, blah. And then as we were walking out, he said, oh, Jimmy, what are you up to these days? I said, mate, I'm going to do some stuff with the Roosters. And he obviously looks after Toddy Payton, and he said, mate, Toddy's looking for an assistant attack coach, and I think he'd be really good for it. So he goes, I'll call Toddy. So he spoke to Toddy and called me back, and he said, he didn't hate the idea on that. So I had a convo over the phone with Todd. Organised me a couple of days later to fly up, have a look around and have a bit more of a in-depth chat and do an interview. And by the end of the following week, I'd signed and agreed to have 2 years up there. So told the kids, the poor old kids, they just come back from going back from a new year, because obviously the school year starts in September over there. So they just started New Year there. Then we come back, and then we put them into a school for the last month to finish. And I said, oh, look, we're sorry, guys, we're going again. You'll have to start all over again. And I remember Ethan, my little one, he goes, I'm not moving. I hate Queensland. And I said, I love your attitude, mate, but we're going. So, then it was, you know, I had another week. I said, Toddy, mate, I need another week just to get some stuff organised, and then I'll be up. And, shot up there a week later and had a month pre-Christmas while Jess stayed and with the kids and let them finish school, and then they all come up after Chrissy, and, life's dandy up there now. Nice.
Is there an ambition to become a head coach? Is that the ultimate goal?
I don't know. To be fair, I don't know. I think there's so much for me to learn at the moment. I think where I'm at is the right place to be in terms of learning. Like, I've really enjoyed working under Toddy and our other assistant, Justin Morgan, who's so experienced and he's been around a lot. So I think they're both really good for me. Me just starting out and doing that, really two good guys to, bounce ideas off and things like that. So, look, down the track, who knows? But, I suppose if you said you didn't want to, then you probably deep down you'd be lying somewhere. Like, just natural over time and your competitiveness and your, trying to be the best. I think you're probably at some point, if you stay down that avenue, I suppose, it would probably be on the cards at some point. But, definitely not yet.
Do you feel the pressure
of coaching?
Yeah. So, like, obviously the Cowboys top 4 finish season 2022, didn't make the 8-23. Coming into this season now, I think as it stands, not in the 8, but got the most amount of players that will play State of Origin for game one, and a roster that's probably expected to be in the top 8.
Yeah.
Do you feel that there's a bit of pressure on you and the staff?
I don't think, and I've never sort of worried about outside pressure.
Yeah.
I don't think that's ever been anything that's bothered me. I think my own, we went through a run of four or five, whatever, straight losses, 4 maybe. And that was like, just because like anything, it's like frustrating and your moods and that. It's just when you're back on the roller coaster of rugby league, where you sort of the atmosphere and the mood around training and everything goes on your results from the weekend, but you don't have any actual influence on the field on that result. So it's it's just like, for me, I suppose it's the pressure to. I want to do my job well. I want to see the reason you get into coaching, I think, and is because the kick you get out of helping someone progress a bit and advance where they're going and stuff like that. So I want that for all the boys up there. I want them to go and, if they haven't played rep footy, I want them to start playing rep footy. If they haven't played first grade, I want them to start playing first grade. Like, I want and be able to say, look, I had a small part in helping them get there. I think that's the sort of job satisfaction you get out of coaching. I think that's the sort of pressure. I think it's more pressure you put on yourself from, I think there's no doubt we're a team that needs to be playing top 8. There's no doubt about that. So, it's just a matter of doing my bit as best I can to make sure that happens.
Yeah, I guess it's the nature of the beast that talk will come from outside. It's only natural. I just want to touch on, you mentioned about your family there, and it's another all-in push, like for career, right? Did that weigh on your mind at all? Because obviously you've moved from Australia to New Zealand, back to Australia to France, back to Sydney, and then now to North Queensland. I think this is something that is probably underappreciated about you, because it is an all-consuming job. Like, it's bloody hard. Yeah,
it is, and I think so. Obviously, my wife's been with me the whole journey, and then obviously along the way at different times. So we've now got the 4 kids, and there's been so many changes and all that. Obviously, the kids, especially the move to France. So we picked up 4 kids, and they went over to France, a whole new country where they couldn't speak a language. Went to like a French school, not like an international school.
Oh,
like
they went to French,
just a local village French school. So, and that was hard for them. That was like, for the first maybe 6 months, like tears and all that. They're trying to make friends at a school where they can't even speak the language, so they can't talk to people to make friends and all that, And talking to some people, I was like, it was hard for them, but it was also really good because my kids have been so lucky to have like such a good upbringing. They haven't had to struggle for anything, So I think that was the first bit of genuine adversity that they had to sort of get through, and we could be there to support them and help them and that, but we couldn't just click our fingers and make it better. They had to sort of work through it, and I think now, like, they've come back, started when we were going back into Penrith, picked up mates and friends like that, and then they've come up to North Queensland. They've done it all easy. Like, I think that was so good for them. As much as it was tough, it was so good for them.
Keeps them adaptable, right?
Yeah, and as I said, I think to fight against some adversity is good for kids. Like, everyone sort of needs to do that. You sort of discover a bit about yourself in that sort of stuff. So, but then obviously to come back and out of the blue, the deal with me and my wife was always said she came everywhere for footy, that after footy finished, she would decide where we ended up.
And she chose Townsville.
Yeah, well, she goes. So we were going. So we had a place.
Or you just said Australia.
We had a place.
vague. You said Australia, babe.
No, she got the option. So we were going to go out to Penrith. Like we had a place in Maroubra, and even if I was going to work at the Roosters, Jess would prefer to be out at Penrith. We enjoyed the lifestyle out there, so we were going to go out there. And then when it all come up, and I said that meeting with Isaac, and I just said to her, I said, look, this is your call. I said, when I said it to you, that was it. I meant it. Like, if you don't want to, sweet, I've got the stuff. I'll go do the stuff and think it's all good. And then she just went, oh, what the hell, another adventure, let's go. So
it's all how you frame it. I like that.
It's that, and then I suppose if it all goes to shit, I can say, well, you chose this style. This was your choice.
I blame you. Before you got back here, you finished at Catalans, I think 2021.
Yeah.
Then did 2 years in France and at Latignon. Why?
Because I love France. I'd move back there in a heartbeat if I could.
Really?
Yeah.
What's so good about France?
It's the best. You just live however you want to live, do whatever you want to do. It's very, very open, so accessible to south of France where we're living in Perpignan. It's like 2-hour drive to go down to Barcelona. Like when you're playing footy, Super League and that, if you just had a day off, you could just jump in your car, drive an hour down to the Costa Brava coast and, eat paella and drink sangria and swim in the Mediterranean Sea and go back to training tomorrow.
Yeah, but here, in Sydney, if you were in Penrith, you'd drive to Bondi, eat an acai bowl,
cost you $600 and then drive home, cost you $50 in tolls.
They don't have toll roads in France.
No, they only had a couple, but not around where we were. We lived in little villages. I love the laid back lifestyle. You'd be driving through villages in France, and then a car would stop, and if their mate was walking along the side of the road, they just stop in the middle of the road and wind their window down, and they have a convo. And then the cars behind, if a couple of cars come behind, they just come in and they stop and they go, he'll be done in a minute. No stress. Can you imagine if you do that? You get bashed. If you do that in Sydney, if you stop somewhere, you'd be road rage.
Yeah, did not.
No, nothing. They just he's just having a chat to his mate. He'll be done in a few minutes. No worries. Off they go. Life was laid back there.
Yeah.
And I love that. So
just when you're playing it, is it Latignon?
Latignon.
When you finish at Catalan, the tax system there, it's
chômage. The chômage, yeah. It's a great system. It's probably the best system in the world where when you finish your contract, you can go and get the French unemployment.
Unemployment.
Yeah, that's what it is, because I was no longer employed by the Catalans. So it's how their tax works, and I think it's a system that's sort of set up for seasonal workers as well. So where we were is very summer based and that. So when summer comes, all the restaurants along the coast and all that open up and they open up, they do mad trade, and then when summer's finished, they shut down. All the restaurants shut.
Oh, they actually fully close?
Yeah, they just shut down. So then obviously all those people that will work there, then they don't work. So then they can get chômage for to get them through the rest of the year and stuff. So if you work 6 months, then you can get 6 months of chômage.
Mate,
and then
Charlie, we should move the buy round to France. And we should, because
I'll work with you and I'll go on it.
We're seasonal workers, technically.
Yeah.
I want some fucking chômage action.
Yeah.
Man, we could close the buy round down in October, kick back up February.
Happy days.
Happy days.
Have a couple of months. You could go to the snow.
Have a smoke.
Ciggies.
Have a glass
of
red. Cafe. Monsieur, fuck, I bow down. You go away. Chômage.
It's a good life.
Fucking,
it's a good life.
That socialist lifestyle is appealing to me.
Yes.
I'm a bit anti-socialist to be fair.
I think at some point, if you were a betting man and there was a market on me ending up back in France at some point, it'd be $1.
Okay, well, Labros are watching. So you enjoyed the whole lifestyle there?
Yeah, loved it. Just loved the. It's funny actually, even the people. You know how a lot of people go, "Oh, how'd you find the people?" The French can be really rude, and didn't find that at all. I found like a little bit the attitude of the people that have found that is like they go, if like someone goes, an Australian goes over to France on a holiday and, you know, just walks in and just goes, "Oh, do you speak English?" And they go like, they're very proud people. They're proud of their heritage and all that sort of stuff. It'd be like coming up like someone, and it like, because if you just go, "Oh, parlez-vous anglais," or whatever, you know, and they just go, "Nah," like it'd be like someone walking up to you in the middle of the street, spitting French at you, going, "Do you speak French?" And you'd be like, No, we don't. So I think it's more. No. Yeah. So I think it's like an attitude of the people going there.
Yeah.
And if you try, like if you go there and so even if your French is not good, but you learn a few lines, like if you were just like, "Oh, sorry, my French is not good, but do you speak any?" Like they would be heaps more welcoming.
Because you're
trying.
Because you're Aussie.
Yeah.
If you're English,
yeah.
Oh.
Well, that's
they don't want to. Honestly,
it's because you raped and pillaged their country for hundreds of years,
and we fucking saved them as well. Fucking that
But that's like the Aussies. We don't like you that much either.
That laid back bullshit attitude that they've got was no good in World War I and II, was it? We can get the Brits involved. What's that saying about French rifles? Never shot, dropped once. For sale. Yeah. Look, no, I to be fair, used to holiday a lot in France. Parents would drive down, get the ferry over.
Yeah.
Great times there. Really good country. And even that, like, I could imagine, you know, the French village life and, you know, it's all the fresh baked baguettes, croissant. Don't like how they go for a little siesta in the day.
You don't?
No, especially when you're playing and you go to like what appears to be a chain of shop to get, I don't know, some water or something to snack on before a game, and they've just got the closed sign. You're like,
yeah, there's not much.
Come on,
you know, you come in, but it's like that attitude. They've got like the work-life balance sorted, like absolutely sorted. It's like if they have a shop, then there might be days like where they go home and like have a siesta, and they're meant to shut at 12 and meant to reopen at 2, and you might turn up at 2:30 and there's no one there. And
yeah, they just
don't come back. Like, mate, but they're like, you know, then you sort of think about it, and they're like, "Nah, I'm at home. I'm doing whatever I'm doing. I'm happy. I don't need the money that much. Nah, stuff it. I'm not going back." Well, isn't that a good way to live? Like everyone here, like just works themselves to the bone to scrounge by. Like it's.
I know what you're saying. But you've got that government system that backs you up with things like chômage.
Yeah, it's not like I don't think their global currency is that good for that reason, but geez, it's a good life.
You enjoyed yourself there, didn't you?
I loved it. Yeah. Absolutely loved it. Had a lot of fun and met a lot of good friends, and yeah.
Like when you think about it as well, the booze is dirt cheap. Like they don't make a lot of their tax. I wonder where the government get their money from to be running systems like chômage, because they barely tax their alcohol.
Well, we used to go down, so of course Perpignan's right down near the Spanish border, so it was like 25 minutes to the Spanish border. So there's La Jonquera, like the first suburb over the border, has got all these factory outlets and stuff like that. So even Spain is cheaper than France.
Is it?
Yeah. So if I was ever down, if you'd gone down to Spain or whatever for the weekend, like the boys that smoked darts or whatever, they'd mess and go, "Hey, Buzz, can you bring a carton of ciggies back?" Because they'd be like €5 a pack in Spain, and they might be $7 in France, you know, so they get them. But then you go down to La Jonquera to just stock up on grog, because it was like a 20-minute drive, and then you go and you'd get like bottles of 1 litre bottles of Absolute vodka for like €11.
Really?
It was the best.
Yeah, like what? Where are the Frenchies getting their money from?
And then you'd be like, bottle sangria for like 5 litres for like $7, $8. Put that in. Big trolley.
Did you ever do the full French outfit, like the garlic or the onion necklace?
No, I don't think so. Maybe actually, we dressed up when we went over for the World Club Challenge for Cronulla after we went Cronulla. So we were in London, and then we had the day off like 2 days before the World Club Challenge, and we basically, our whole team got on that the Eurostar.
Yeah.
So we got the first one out in the morning, got up in the morning, rode bikes and cruised around like Paris for the day, and then went back in the other.
It is pretty good that when you're in Europe, you know, an hour or two away, and it's
Crazy.
a completely different culture, a completely different way of life.
Yeah.
You know, you got that relaxed style of France. You could go to Germany where it's a bit more regimented, then the relaxed nature of the Dutch. And then obviously the scallywags of England, if you want a bit of action there as well. How'd you find the language barrier?
Yeah, look, tough, but like at the start, but I tried to, like I wanted to learn it. Like, so I went over with a pretty open mind and wanting to learn it, which I think was, yeah, the right way. Like I had a good chat and good chat with Trent Robinson once I'd signed and went over there just about France because I'd obviously been over there coaching and stuff like that. So, yeah, he sort of advised like that. He goes, mate, you got to learn it. Like, you got to buy into it and all that. I said, yeah, 100% want to. It was still hard. Like to learn a language, like it's a tough ask. Like, so I was sort of, I think it's like, you start and you're like right into it, and then you see yourself, you start learning more and more and more, and you're like, how good's this? Like, I'll know this in 6 months, you know. And then you get to this point and you're still doing your lessons and you're learning, and you're just like, I just don't know anything more. I've been knowing the same amount for like, I knew this all a month ago, and I've been doing all these more lessons and I still know the same shit. And then you think you're going good because the French boys at training and that, they'll like slow everything down for you to talk. But then when you hear them in a group go blah, 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 you're like, I didn't get one word of that.
Yeah.
Like not one word. And then, because then they throw in like little bits of slang and stuff like that. Jesus stuff. Like, so after 4 years, so I had 2 years at the Catalans. Obviously, with the Catalans, English coach Steve McNamara, a lot of English and imported players. So the French boys all speak really good English. So you sort of got to take yourself out of your comfort zone and, you know, before training to go and try and hang with the French boys and make a conscious effort, because it's so natural to just gravitate to the people you can talk to and communicate with. So I sort of would try and do that in bits and bits, but then I got okay, but my French got a lot better in the next 2 years when I was playing at Lesignan just in local footy, and because the coach couldn't speak English, you know, some of the players couldn't speak English and stuff like that. So just through necessity. It's like if you moved to France and you didn't know anyone that could speak English, you would pick it up so much easier because you have to do it to get by. Whereas because you're over there and you've got other English players and that work, and then if you're an import, so the visa, like my wife's visa, she couldn't go over there and work, so it had to be that my income would look after everyone. So then any of the other imports that have got family, their missus is the same. So then the girls will hang out with each other because it's just convenient and easy. So then they even less get the French interaction, you know. So it's a little bit of a challenge, but it's once you get it and you try and you can communicate with them, it's really cool.
One of my favourite French words is the French for chicken.
Poulet.
Cock.
That's rooster.
Is it?
That's rooster.
Oh, I thought you see like cock sandwiches everywhere you go. Isn't it?
No, chicken is poulet.
Poulet. But they have coq au vin.
Hey?
Coq au vin, the French dish, is chicken in like a
Yeah,
sauce.
but it's obviously
Cock.
rooster.
It's not.
It's why roosters call it cock. And you know what a seal's called?
What?
A fuck. Swear to God.
Mate, I've seen it where it's COQ, yeah, like cock soup.
Yeah.
There's things all
Rooster.
over. Yeah, it's cock soup.
Penis soup.
Mate, no, because that one cock is offensive, the other cock isn't. So I was going to say, you know when Israel Folau was there? And obviously he had his views. Like, I don't think I'd get bored of saying, like, do you want to...
Cock sandwich.
Right,
Yeah.
and it's not wrong. You're speaking the language. I'm just asking if you want one.
It's true.
Mate, I'd never get bored of that.
No.
Never. I reckon every single team feed.
Every day. Cock sandwich.
Do you want some cock?
Is he? Cock is he? Or?
Yeah, and it's fine because we're speaking French.
Yeah.
They were allowed to say it. It's not rude or offensive.
Well, it's not rude if you say English, is it?
Well, some people would find that particular cock offensive.
Why is that?
Don't know. You'd have to ask them. But one
Not
cock,
you.
one cock is fine. The other cock's not. Depends in the context of the delivery.
I'm confused which cock's which now.
How was it with Folau being there?
Yeah, good. Mate, Izzy was good. He come over and, yeah, it was a good day, mate. Him, I'd met him before. Obviously, he was at Waratahs when I was at the Roosters and stuff like that, knew Izzy. So I remember them coming over and, like, he'd signed and then just before he came, we sort of addressed it and he come straight over and just said, hey, boys, I just want to go, look, I've got no issue with, you know, gay people and all that sort of stuff and all that. But it was like crack up because it was like all, everyone was a little bit like on eggshells, like what's doing. And then, so then I think Jace Patera or someone like added him to the WhatsApp. So then I just sent a picture of gay porn into the WhatsApp and said, welcome, Izzy. And everyone was like, oh, bro, what are you doing? I was like, well, mate, we had to break the ice. So
Yeah, of course you do.
Fuck, he's sweet. He's sweet. He's a good fella, Izzy.
I can remember playing against you actually when you were at Catalan and fuck, you had a good team. Do you reckon you should have won one while you were there?
We should have. It's hard. The French team in the English competition. It's like England like having France in their competition. They're like, yeah, we've got a French team, but they don't like them winning. So it's like you're always like, you're never going to get, when you get to the big games, you're never going to get the 50-50 calls. Like you just need to be, to do it, you need to be so much better that, you know, you sort of take it like, we got beat by 2 points in GF. We had some absolute clangers go against us, but is what it is, isn't it?
What year was that?
21.
Oh, right, yeah, against Saints.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I probably don't remember the clangers as vividly as you, but I understand what you're saying.
Do you remember when we kicked for touch and then Lockie Coote hit the ball in? And then I remember kicking, so I kicked this ball.
Was that in the grand final?
It was. And I kicked the ball for touch and I went, oh, geez. Like when you kick the ball,
God,
you know.
I do remember.
You go, geez, good kick. Like I was like not thinking like, oh, geez, that like might not find touch. And then all of a sudden, Cootie, and it was like, I see Cootie up at Townsville all the time. And like, so Cootie's like jumped and hit this ball in and it's play on. And I've gone, how the hell has that gone in?
That was bad.
Cootie was 3 metres outside of the field of play and jumped in the air and went, douche.
Yeah,
and
he basically ran over the sideline, jumped in the air, knocked it back in.
He was in row 2, I think, and he jumped off the chairs and hit it back. And then they went, play on. And I went, oh, it's a beautiful sport, this, isn't it?
Yeah, you know what, mate? When you put it like that, they've got it up against them.
Yeah, it is like that. But we knew when we were over there. It's just like a thing. Like the English don't want the championship side to be in another country. There's it's just how it is. You know, you just got to fight the good fight. Frenchies, vive la France.
Actually, going a bit political, the Catalonians want independence, don't they? Did you ever get caught up in any of that?
That was all. I think when I first got there, that was a big thing because all the Catalan flags were everywhere and they're all blown up. But that was like in Spain. So it's a bit confusing. I never really got it all because that was in Spain, and then like they held like a vote that was technically an illegal vote or something because they weren't meant to. So then some of them got put in prison by the Spanish government. But then Catalonia encompasses like the north of Spain, like Barcelona and that. And then
so Barcelona have the Catalonian flag on their jersey, I think.
Then up into France and that. So yeah, I never fully understood, knew how it was going to think, but it basically encompasses that north of Spain and then the south of France to a point.
Because Catalans isn't a town or a city; it's an area.
An area, Catalonia.
Catalonia,
and they speak Catalan. So there's a Catalan language.
Was that difficult for you with the language? It's like, are we speaking French or Catalonian? Or?
Nah, so apparently, I don't know any Catalan other than bon dia. They say bon dia instead of bonjour. But I think so. Catalan apparently is a mix between Spanish and French. But yeah, I can't speak any of it.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, just on your career, and obviously you speak about this, like the funny side to you, and there is a larrikin. I don't think I'm speaking out of turn there. Do you ever feel it sort of overshadows your actual playing ability because you were a fucking good player?
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't really care either. To be fair, that's something you'd have to ask different people. You know, I don't really. It's hard for me to say like I thought this or I thought I don't know. That's I had plenty of success on the footy field and finished my career very happy with what I achieved and. Also happy that I had a bloody good time doing it. You know, I even see some of the older players now being involved in it and how everything's so sports science and everything. I'm sure they don't have as much fun as we used to have. I say to some players they're going, they get heaps more money. I was like, yeah, but they didn't have as much fun, did they? They probably still have lots of fun. I'm sure they do, but different fun.
Yeah,
different. I feel like I had a lot of fun doing what I love to do for a long time. So yeah, I wouldn't change anything. And I suppose how people see my footy, whether they that would be on an individual's how they would take it. Yeah. But
just looking back at your career, wherever you went to. Success seemed to happen and not follow, but you seem to have an impact on a team when you got there. And maybe it happens once, twice, but the frequency of it tends to suggest it's not coincidental. What is it about when James Maloney arrives at a football club that makes them compete and start to achieve more than they previously had?
Yeah, I think I was always aware everywhere I went, I sort of chose to go for a certain reason. Like obviously when you're started my career, I went to the Warriors and that was obviously for an opportunity. But the one thing that going to the Warriors is you'll always have a decent forward pack. And I think as a half, that's important, So, I know that went there and knew I'd have a good forward pack. Then obviously come back, had the opportunity when I come back to the Roosters. The Roosters weren't going so well at the time, but I actually looked at their roster and went, they're a really underperforming roster. Like they've got plenty of ability there. So then obviously chose that for that reason. You know, I always went somewhere because I wanted to be playing well and I wanted to be in a good side. When I left Roosters, went to Cronulla, the same. We had a really good, experienced forward pack and a lot of exciting outside backs coming through. And I just sort of said, I could just sit in the middle and put this all together. You know, they've got it all there. And then ended up from there going to Penrith, where Penrith just had this. Penrith have always had this amazing talent pool of juniors coming through, and had all these young kids just coming through that had unlimited ability and just was there as a senior player to guide these guys around and bring them through. So I think we always went, you know, like everywhere I left, I got paid more than where I was before, but I never went somewhere just for money. You know, I didn't, you know, obviously there's players have got different reasons why they go to sort of places, but, you know, it's like you can earn really good money, but when you're waking up and you're bashing your body around and getting beat every week, geez, the money would wear thin.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be payday would come and put a big smile on your face, and then, you know, for the next 4 weeks or whatever, it's the bits. So I think I always went to places, for the reason of to do well.
Yeah. I feel it's stupid for asking you this, but would you consider yourself, because I know people don't like talking about themselves in this sort of way, but would you consider yourself the glue of the team, to glue all those parts together? Because I think from outside looking in and just talking to you now and watching you and playing against you, certainly that's how it was. Like in my position, it would be James Maloney's the glue to that team.
I think I knew one of my strengths was, like, I wasn't an individually brilliant player, like there's someone that I could, you know, I'm not going to step 5 blokes and palm guys and score, like as an individual what I could do. But I knew that I knew football well, and I knew how I could make the guy outside me better, and I knew how I could make the guy inside me better and the guys around me better, and put them into space to, you know, let them show what they can do. You know, I understood that. I knew that was a strength of mine. And then I think I, you know, always found I always got on with people very easily. Like just my personality, I'm always, you know, could get on with people very easily. So I think to fit in and go with that was not too difficult. And I think football guys, we're all pretty similar footballers. You know, there's not a whole lot to us. We're pretty simple creatures. But, yeah, so I just thought that was probably my strengths, that I knew how to sort of bring the best out of players around me and, could get on with most people.
You know, when you talk about bringing the best out of people around you, was that the foundation for that? Was that through video work, watching the game, just experience, practice sessions, or just natural ability?
Yeah, I think it's something natural. I think I was pretty lucky. I learned a lot. Like my dad had a big influence on me early on, growing up in teaching me rugby league and, you know, the basic elements of rugby league. And, you know, after that, obviously lucky that I had, you know, different, some really good coaches at different points that I learnt even more about and stuff like that. So it was never video. Like I was never one for video really. Like it was just a feel. And I used to say, like, it's funny now, obviously coaching and that, where you understand that for some players, they need video and they need to see this, and they want to feel like they completely know what's happening, you know. It'd be like I played with guys that would love, if they were playing someone and if they were on a certain edge, they would want to know all the shapes and see all the shapes that they run against them. That's what they liked. Whereas I would sit there and go, okay, well, we defend it. Our edge will defend in our system, and they can do whatever they want. We'll just defend it. So it's just, again, different personalities. But I was not really video. And I think every time, like if I ran out on the field every week, if I was running out the tunnel, if someone stopped me and went, "What did we look at in video this week?" I couldn't have told them. Literally wouldn't have had a clue. And I would just every week just go and go, okay, I'm going to play footy again. And I'd just go and play. So I think, I think that might have been frustrating to some coaches and stuff, but that was just how I played footy, you know. I understood the basics and, you know, also a lot of your stuff with your attack and that, like in your good sides, you set up a style of play for your team that suits and plays to your strengths. Yeah. So regardless of who you're playing week to week, your strengths don't change. So you don't need to alter how you play every week and go, oh, we're playing them, we'll do this, because we're just playing to our strengths. We'll play every week, we'll play to our strengths, and we might identify a couple of things that we'll go, okay, sweet, this is what we do, and then in that we might have some joy here or there, you know. So I think that you keep it pretty simple, and then most guys. I think it also helps with accountability if it's simple. If everything gets too complicated, then when you go back to sort of work out why it went wrong, then someone goes, I thought it was this, and I thought it was this, I thought it was this, and we mix it up. Whereas if it's sort of simple and it doesn't change all the time, it's like, no, you didn't think, because that's what we do all the time. This is what we do here. Yeah. So you missed your role there. You didn't do your thing. And I think that helps with accountability on players, because otherwise it gets too complicated. It's an easy cop-out to just go, oh, I thought it was this, I thought it was that.
I like what you're saying there. I think it certainly helps in really teams with good potential and that are up near the top, where it's like, we're going to throw our best at you. We're going to keep fine-tuning this. We'll throw it at you. If you can stop it, good luck. But we might just look for somewhere that we can exploit an area of your weakness, because you're not perfect defensively. Yeah. And defensively with systems, it's like, here's our fundamentals. Here's what we do. We kind of know what shape you're going to run at us, but you're entitled to change it, and we'll just turn up and we'll make the fucking tackles, and we'll hold you out for as long as possible, and we'll get in for set, and we'll back our conditioning over you. But it's a really good philosophy that, like, and when you talk about accountability and it being like, you know, I've been in those video sessions before where people have said, oh, yeah, here's my justification for this action.
I thought it was this. Oh, he called this. Well, I thought he said this or whatever, and then it sort of gets to a nothing.
Yeah, and you never actually figure out what went wrong or how you can fix it moving forward. The way to fix it is know your role, know how we do it, and do it. Yeah. And we'll live and die by this. Yeah. It's really interesting, that.
It's pretty simple, isn't it? It's not that complicated.
It's not. It's not. But it's almost too simple that people think it's simple, but it's hard to do. And it
is hard to do. That's like everything hard to do. Yeah. But I think you can really overcomplicate rugby league if you want to. I think it's trying to keep it simple. I think for rugby league, till the day it dies, there will be basic principles of rugby league that will never change. Yeah. The game will evolve in different things, but there will be elements and basic principles that will always stay the same and be the right thing to do. So
yeah, I'm with you on that. You had, like we spoke about, a lot of success where you went. Couple of premierships, one at the Roosters, one at the Sharks. I guess you can't really compare them, but just a quick summary of the one at the Roosters. Obviously, some amazing players there. Sonny Bill Williams, to name but one. What's your reflections around the success with that team?
Yeah, look, I think it was like I just got there my first year there. Robbo had just come. Obviously Michael Jennings, we had him just come over. Sonny came in. We had a bloody good team. Yeah, there's no short. But but we also worked really hard. You know, I think the difference in the sides is you always find sides that have got a heap of ability that just don't consistently produce, and I think that's when they fall into the trap of thinking that their ability will just get the job done. And I think that's the sort of the curse and the hardest thing of a really highly talented footy side is that they can just fall into the, oh, you know what, it'll just happen, like we'll just work, when that's not the case. So I think we had a real element of hard work that was the underlying factor in that star-studded side. So
there's so many teams that have that curse of talent, and there's so many individuals that have the curse of talent that'll get them far,
but not to the top.
Yeah,
whether you're talking individuals, whether you're talking teams collectively, 100%. I think it's like you look at like not just players that come through. So you in a massive generalisation, but guys that are super talented as juniors coming through tend not to have the same work ethic because they've never had to work really hard for doing it, you know, and, you know, so you get guys that are freakish, can do this, but then at the top level will get caught out and that because they just don't have that underlying work ethic. Or then you'll have these guys that, you know, have had to really work hard and fight and scrap for everything. They've got a real good work ethic, but don't have the, you know, that top end talent or whatever that the other guys have had, you know. And I think that's just a general thing, you know. I remember as a little fella, I used to always see some of these big athletic, you know, guys that could have been anything, and I was like, oh, give me their body, mate. I'll be unstoppable. But you can't get a big man's mindset, a little man's mindset on a big person's body because they haven't had to develop that through constantly playing above their weight and doing that sort of stuff. So
I'm proving people wrong.
Yeah.
Being told you're too small.
Yeah.
I'll show you wrong. But a big guy never gets told you're going to be too big.
Yeah. Yeah. So interesting.
It is. Thoughts on your time at the Sharks? Just a quick reflection from there. Obviously, the very first premiership with Cronulla.
Yeah.
Good crew there as well.
Yeah,
good experienced crew.
Yeah, we had the same as I said when I went there. We had a really good experienced pack. You know, we were sort of getting older. Like we had Louis and Gal, Hino, like guys were older. Then we had Fafita and guys that were not as old, but like quite seasoned. Like we had a real seasoned pack, and then we just had. That was interesting. It was probably, I said, when I went to Cronulla and all that from the Roosters, it was probably like training, loading that. We had Andrew Gray there, who's like the guru of like sports and stuff like that. And I went to Cronulla. It was like the easiest preseason I'd ever done.
Really?
But I was fit as... And like, yeah, I don't fully.
When you say what do you mean by just
like
volume wise or?
Yeah, so we used to have like it was a bit different. Like we would have the training where we wouldn't have these big long, and whether this was just because we had some older guys and it was managing guys or whatever. But remember we got up. Got there the first time because like I said, the Roosters, we used to train hard, and we had a real hard work underlying that. And then got there, so the first one we would have like twice a week, whether it was like Friday morning or something like that, or Tuesday after training, and we'd have like maybe a half an hour little blowout, and it was like wherever it was designed, it was flat stick. Like you were at 100% flat stick and then just hang on for as long as you can. So it wasn't massively long or enduring. And of course you knew it was only a short period of time. You didn't have to save anything in the tank. You know, if you're sitting in front of like a 2-hour, massive session, everyone always saves something because you just don't know
you can't burn yourself out in the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, so you can't. So it was like flat stick, bang, bang, bang. And then after a couple of weeks of doing that, Lord, Andrew come over to me and just goes, "Oh, mate, I'm happy with you are, so long as you just blow yourself out in the first Tuesday one. When the boys go do the second one on Friday, you can just go do some kicking and stuff like that." So I basically had half an hour of com work a week in the thing. But I was like fit as, like it was just nothing, no shortage of fitness. Would do everything I need to do on a field, whatever. But it's crazy.
Yeah, it sort of almost doesn't make sense, does it really?
It doesn't even to me now.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But yeah, geez, it was crazy.
How was the celebrations there?
Yeah, it was good. We ended up, remember we got back to the stadium, everything was like going bonkers, and we ended up the next day we're at the stadium and all that, and I can't remember who it was. We went down, we're like, oh, let's go down to Northies. So we organised, went down to Northies and got a, they roped off a big section at the end of Northies, and Northies was chockers like crazy. So we went down there, and I think I was with Benny Barber and that, and Benny goes, "Oh, come for a walk. We got to walk down to the tab end at the end of the year," and just walking through, trying to get all the way down and all the way back, and people were just going, "Yeah," like just going nuts. And then then we got back, and then we're like, "Everyone, you got to go do the walk through at some point, go through." And then I was like sitting there with Damien Cow, and he goes, "Should we get Lyle O'Gorman and that to bring the trophy down?" I was like, "Fucking oath, let's go." And then we're sitting there. I just remember, like the Northies erupted, and it was Gal was walking in with like the trophy above his head. It was going bonkers. So then he's walked over, and we got to this like fenced off area, and then Gal sit down. I was sitting down on the next to the on the lounge or whatever next to Gal, and I'm looking at everyone just going, "Man," I was like, "I'm gonna go jump on him, Gal." Because I remember years ago, like Newcastle when they won and Joey Johnson, they were like crowd surfing off the bus and shit. I was like, we might never get a chance to crowd surf through Northies ever in your life. So then I was like, go, and then so like got up, and I think it went off like a chair onto a table, and then like launched into this thing, and then do that, and then after that, then we started like cheering guys on one by one, and all the boys would like run and jump and crowd surf through. So,
but any of the bigger boys do it, like for FIFA?
Yeah, I can't remember if but we even got Lyle, like Gorman, the chairman. We're like, Lyle, let's go. Yeah, so
that's quality.
It was pretty funny. So yeah, we had a very good time.
Good times, mate. Obviously, you finished up at Penrith. Did you see the foundations being laid there? Did you see this team of dominance, this era of dominance coming?
Well, I don't know if you could say you saw this coming. Like, it's been pretty phenomenal, like what they've been able to do. Could see a very good side coming through in the making, and knew it was sort of there. We just, obviously they were young, they were still learning bits and pieces, and it took some time to put it together, but I knew there was a team there. Did I know there was a team that could do what they've done? Yeah. No. I think anyone it wouldn't matter what team it was, if you said, whatever the best team was at the time, they'll win 3 in a row, everyone would have called you crazy. Yeah. Like if you said, can I pick a team? He went to a bookie and said, can I pick you a team? They'd say, write your price. They would have just said, write your own price. Like to see what they've done is phenomenal. And I think the most impressive thing of that is when you watch them, they are so rock hard fit every year, and they just constantly go there's no shortcuts to do what they're doing, and to to do it after having, like, we've had won premierships and then the following year, it's hard, like, because one, you hit everyone in the competition plays their best game against you the following week, and you just got to have that constant drive and hunger to keep turning up and doing it again, I think's remarkable.
Do you reckon part of it now, you like you're saying, so when the Sharks won, Roosters, whoever else, they've got that big target on their back. Do you reckon now Penrith have almost beaten teams before they've even kicked off because of the reputation that they come with?
Well, I think there's an element to that, the mental side of it. I think, in any game of footy, there's the physical side of the game, but there's always a mental battle out on the footy field. And I think years ago, back in the day, that was like Melbourne used to have that, go down like Melbourne in Melbourne, the old Amy Park, and there were like people couldn't win there because I reckon the same. It was just they built this aura of far out. How do we beat that? There'd have to be like that. Obviously, comes down to every individual's mentality of how, and which is hard to say because you don't know what goes on inside everyone's head.
How is it as an assistant coach? Do you to plan to beat them? Well, you played them not long ago.
Yeah,
like without giving too much away. What are you saying to your players?
Yeah, I thought what we did against them, like we ended up, what did we lose by? Was it 2 points or something, like goal kicking? So it was four tries all, and we threw an intercept and we dropped a ball where they picked up and put over the line. So we sort of gave them 2 free points and finished 4 tries all. So I think what we did was the right way to go about and play them, and I think we should have beat them. But then that's Penrith,
Yeah. Was there any specific messages for going up against that team?
Need to be prepared to work very hard, because they will. So I suppose if you might as well not turn up if you're not prepared to do that.
Yeah. Interesting. You do. Fuck, their line speed's scary, man.
Well, that's what I mean. Like their
line speed,
what they do over and constantly, and I think the best, or they understand, like they can be on the back foot. Because even if you think about that Broncos grand final or whatever, like, and everyone had them shot to pieces, like they were on the back foot, and then there's like, was there a ball went to ground or something, or Stephen Crichton picked it up or whatever, where everyone's natural instinct is then to go, oh, we got the ball, we can rest. But theirs is to go, bang, let's go straight back at you and go whack, 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 whack. And that's so hard to do, like mentally, because to then go looking for work instead of going looking for rest, like that sort of mentality in how they work is like phenomenal.
Yeah, I like that analogy. Obviously, State of Origin around the corner. You won a couple. Well, can you put any separation between winning State of Origin series versus winning a Premiership, or just
different? Obviously, a Premiership, you spend the whole year with those boys. You start in pre-season, you build it. Like there's a whole lot more that goes into it. But then the Origin is like seen as a pinnacle of, it's the best of the best. Everyone's sort of out there on the field too. So then to succeed in that arena against the best caliber of players and all that, they're both, it's hard to, they're different, but it's hard to sort of say, oh, I'd rather this or that, But, they're both very, very important. Like I'd won 2 premierships, but it used to eat me that I hadn't won State of Origin series yet. That really, it used to eat away at me. And then obviously I hadn't got the final 2 before I left, so that was good.
How will you go being a New South Welshman in Queensland for Origin this year?
Yeah, I'll be all right. Messaged all our Queensland boys and said, congratulations, boys, really happy for you. And I hope you play really well in a beaten side, you know. So,
that's fair enough.
You know, it's I'm New South Welshman till I die. I'll never be anything else, but you know, it'll make for a fun. Obviously, Tony Payton, the coach, he's a New South Welshman too.
Yeah, true.
And,
yeah.
Morgs is New South Welshman as well. So, yeah, there's a few up there, I suppose, but. Yeah, we'll just hope our boys get through all unscathed. I think that's the main concern. And then from a purely fans concern, I hope New South Wales win.
Fair play. We'll get to the 4 questions we do for each and every guest, mate. So a dream spine, 1679. No rules, just whatever you want.
A dream spine. All right. Righto. I might go. It's hard. I've got to pick Queenslanders there.
Do you?
Well, you don't have to.
No, there's no.
But they're very
it's your
good.
dream.
But they were. What am I playing in? What game?
Just whatever.
What am I playing against?
Just in the dream. It's somewhere
in the dream.
Just imagine you in a dream. Close your eyes. You're playing in this dream.
All right. Well, I'm going to go something left field of like just guys I think that I want to be in the spine with. Can I pick myself?
Fuck yeah.
Well, of course I'll put myself in.
Maloney at 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's your dream, so you're going to be in there, aren't you?
I have to, really.
You're not going to be coaching this dream stuff.
Nah.
I mean, you could
be assistant coaching.
Could be assistant coach. Yeah.
All right. What do we got? Fullback. Yeah, I'm going to put Matty Bowen.
Ooh, okay.
It'll be lively side. This will be a real lively. We'll be playing some footy in the side.
Well, with Bowen and Maloney in there, yeah. 7.
7. Probably have to put Joey in there. It'd be pretty cool to. Never got the chance to sort of run off Joey to be a throw a ball, get thrown a ball from Joey, be all right. And then what I got? 9. 9. Put Cam Smith, eh?
Cam Smith, all right, fair enough. Not a bad team. Bowen, Maloney, Johns and Cam Smith. Dream spine of James Maloney, also assistant coach. Hey, I forgot to ask you, we were talking earlier about how you would coach you. So one of the stories that did get told is your time at Melbourne. You used to eat crisps in the video room, and Bellamy would hate you rustling the crisp packet. How would you deal with one of your Cowboys players eating crisps in the team room or in the video room?
The story that goes around, it wasn't crisp, it was a yogurt, and it was one. Yeah, I was not playing, so I was sort of not paying attention to what was going on around me, and I was just digging this yogurt. Yeah, look, probably handle it the same way Billy did. I say, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, so not one of me. Not, you know. But I'll tell you what, I've heard so many people tell the story, so it's given everyone a lot of enjoyment anyway, hasn't it?
Well, mate, that's it. You put smiles on people's faces.
That's what it's about, isn't it?
What else have we got? The most interesting person that you've met in your life so far?
The most interesting. So is this person that I've met, like that I've had to find out about interesting, or if I just met them but didn't get to spend a whole lot of time with them?
Whatever you want, mate.
I met Usain Bolt.
Did you?
France.
Where at?
That's pretty cool. I met him. He was come over to the A-League at the Mariners, and I went up for Central Coast. I went up to a thing to organise like for an article and do a photo on that with him. So that's pretty cool because I reckon that's pretty interesting.
The fastest man on the planet.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
That was fucking
like, and probably will be for like for a long time.
He was never going to make it as a footballer.
He didn't have to.
No.
He didn't have to. He's the fastest man in the world.
You know what? You were talking about,
like Superman.
We were talking about talent and how talent can't get you out of trouble sometimes. Pace normally does. But his pace wasn't going to get his defending ability or his attack, his touch or his finishing ability out of any trouble.
No, well, that's fair. It'll get him there first.
Yeah, he'd be there.
But if you can't kick the ball and miss it,
yeah, if you can't hit the target,
yeah,
you're not onto a winner.
Yeah,
that is a pretty cool one to me.
Cool one. I met Gerard Butler before.
The actor.
The actor.
Yeah, nice.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah, nice.
All the A-listers.
All the A-listers. A sliding doors moment you think about in life, like maybe the alternative happening.
Sliding doors. All right, here's one. I reckon if I didn't meet my wife, because like when I went to Melbourne, so I moved, she moved down with me, and then that very first year she fell pregnant with our first. And then said like multiple times before that, like that changed. I think that changed my direction of my career, because it's top. But until then I was like reserve grade. I was sort of probably not taking everything as serious as what I needed to, and I was just sort of enjoying it. I had no responsibilities, so I think that made it not just about me anymore. It made it against someone else. So I've never really thought about what the alternative would be. Probably be back on the building side. I was doing me a carpentry apprenticeship, doing that. So, but yeah, that would probably be one, because I reckon that was a big reason my footy changed, when it stopped becoming just about me and I had a reason. So yeah, that's probably it. Yeah,
fair play. Normally we do what you'd be doing if it wasn't for football, but you've just answered that. Carpentry. What's the ultimate dream for James Maloney now? You've achieved so much in the game as a player. You've started on a pathway of assistant coaching, but what does the dream life look like?
The dream life for me looks like waiting for Powerball to get to 150 million again, my ticket being pulled out, and just saying sayonara to the workforce.
Really?
What do you mean? What, can you tell me anyone on the planet who like enjoys going to work? Like if they didn't have to.
I enjoy it.
If you didn't have to do it, you would still do it.
I'd be here, for sure.
So if you got paid nothing, all right, so if let's say everything in the world was free, like if you wanted to get something from the grocery shop, everyone, this is how you'd spend your time.
I think so, yeah.
You need better hobbies, man. What are you going to do? Come in and talk to guys?
Yeah, I enjoy it.
But you can just talk to guys anywhere, from your yacht. From your yacht in the Mediterranean.
I get antsy real quick. I'm not a good person to holiday with. A relaxing holiday, I just start to go fucking stir crazy. I get.
Well, you don't have to just sit and chill. You can do whatever you want.
Like what though?
Oh, what's your dream job?
Podcast. You know what my actual dream job would be?
What?
Host a travel show.
Yeah. Well, you could do that. You could live that.
Yeah, but it's a bit different, because you kind of need to justify why you're going. And
well, if you wanted, you could get someone to walk around and film you traveling, doing your holiday, so you could think that.
I'd go to like new age travel places like Saudi and Qatar and places like that. See what they've got going on.
New age.
Yeah, well, it's not really it's not been a tourist destination for a while.
So like off the beaten track.
Not off the beaten track, like these new. So all the
they're
holiday.
Not new. They've been around forever.
Yeah, but they've got a modern twist to them now. Do you know what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
Like Abu Dhabi, mate. Have a look at the photos, like Dubai in 2000 versus Dubai now. It's like, so there's not, and I think people need educating about these new age. Like all Aussies, they just go to Bali or they go to Thailand. Like there's other.
Have you seen the difference between Bali in 2000 and Bali now? It's crazy.
It's pretty much the same.
It's new age.
It's not new age.
It's just in Kuta used to be little shop markets. Now it's a massive plaza.
Yeah, a bit massive plaza, but places like Abu Dhabi and all those, they've gone from like being a desert to like 6-7 star hotels.
Yeah.
So my dream job would be bounce around, get paid to go there and talk
Travel
to people
the Middle
about
East.
not
Would
just
you go to Afghanistan
depends what for.
for new age?
If there was if they were on the series, if they were part of the series, if they were like
Qatar.
Qatar, yeah.
Qatar
Have you been
would be
to
cool,
Qatar?
no.
Have you ever
No, I've never been. I want to go.
Yeah, the World Cup was there. Yeah. You want to go? Well, you get an insight. No, an insight into what Qatar could look like for the Maloneys on holiday. Brought to you by James Graham.
Well,
So I'd be able to be like, hey, if you're there traveling with 4 kids, this is where you want to go.
Why don't we just do a travel show then?
Well, we need someone to fund it. Hey, this is my dream, not yours. You can win the Powerball. You can fuck off.
Well, I can fund your dream.
You can
with
fund my
Powerball.
dream with your Powerball. Yeah. All right, then. Let's do that. So if you win the Powerball, you've got to pay for all the costs of my travel show.
Yeah.
But you can't. You're an assistant coach, and I've had a bit of a jab at one of the coaches that's gone away, so you're not allowed to do it.
I won't be an assistant coach if I win Powerball, mate.
You're off.
That's why I'll see out the season because I'm a man of my word, and then ciao.
See you later. Would you watch the show if I did one?
Your show.
Yeah. Let's say you don't win Powerball, and somehow I get this dream job to go and explore new age places in the tourism world, because it has changed. And that why do you think they're pumping all this money in there? Because they know the oil's going to run out. They need tourists. And this is my like pledge to the governments of those places. Get some English-based Australian to go and travel there to show the Aussies that there's other places to go other than Bali and Thailand.
Yeah, right.
Then they'll bring all that tourist money in.
You might have a market there.
No, that's why they've changed. Or they've put all these fancy buildings up because they want tourists to go.
Well, they've bought soccer clubs and that now, don't they?
Yeah.
So they're just getting everyone to come watch their soccer.
Yeah. And showcase to the world that these places are tourist friendly. Come to us. Wouldn't it be great if rugby league had like a Saudi league?
So good. Remember they were going to play, there was like talk a test was going to get played in Qatar or something. Do you remember that?
Dubai, I think Dubai, wasn't it?
No, Qatar.
Oh, was it Qatar?
Yeah.
Mate, as if they should.
I was like, yes.
Well, mate, Saudi, you could argue sports washing. I don't know if that's true. I'm not going to get drawn into that. But Saudi have got money to spend on sports. I wouldn't be surprised if they came knocking for a Vegas style experience in Saudi instead of Vegas, because they'd
be hot.
It would be hot. It would be hot. But places are using sport for their tourism. So Las Vegas rugby league it's basically for one part of it is tourism. They got the F1, so they're in a bit of a fight at the moment. Vegas, but
Vegas have already got NFL and
no, but they want these big events. So why do you think all the boxing is in Saudi? Tyson Fury for Usyk.
They're trying to take.
They're trying to
America's
and make this as like a sports capital and a tourism capital. We need to showcase this to Aussies. I know the Aussies is only a small market. I think 30, 40 million people here, and however many of them can afford to go on holiday. But Saudi, if you want someone to showcase your beautiful part of the world,
you're the man.
I'm your man.
Done.
I reckon I'd
wear long sleeve shirt,
blend in.
Wear a bucket hat and a long sleeve shirt,
just covered in zinc. Come to Saudi.
Like all the pommies that come to the south of France and they all go home red, beetroot red.
Mate, but it's just different way of life there. That people think there's an attitude of English. If you go away, you need to fucking show everyone you've been away.
It's like they don't believe in sunscreen. It's like they got the most pale skin, but they refuse. It's like a sign of weakness to put sunscreen on.
I think it's partly that, partly is they're not used to it, so it's not part of their like habit in the sun, because it very seldom would get that hot. But it's also people want to prove like, hey, I've been away, like. It's almost like a bit of a state.
I went on
like,
holidays. Look at me.
Look, I'll tell you what. And they go, I'll burn and it'll turn into a tan. There's that attitude of English, 100%, no doubt.
Does it ever?
I think eventually it would, yeah, but you obviously
All the
run the
freckles
risk.
join up.
All the freckles join up. Obviously, I'm not going to get a job speaking for skincare, Australia or UK with that attitude. But no, if in doubt, or slip, stop, slap,
Wrap,
cover up, wear sunglasses, wear a hat, drink plenty of water. That's what you got to do.
Brought to you by the Cancer Council Australia.
Hey, did you ever go anywhere in Europe and they basically it's Brits on tour or Poms on tour where it's just like it's just full of like British cafes, Irish bars, like it's brilliant, but it's England in
they
the
get
sun.
real obnoxious too, the Brits, when they're on tour as well.
Do they?
Yeah, you can imagine it. I think they just think it's all about them, and because they get these little hot spots. It's always where it's cheap too, because they're all tight asses. They all go for $1 beers too.
One pint, one shot, on Europe. Yeah, €10 and you absolutely munted.
Yeah, so there's a few of those.
You too good for that. Yeah, you too good for that.
Try and keep away from those pommies.
From the riff-raff.
They're all a bit bad. The hooligans.
The hooligan. Where was your favourite holiday place? I know you did Oktoberfest.
That was very good. Very hard on the body afterwards, the recovery, but very good.
Does it ever piss you off when you see how Europe can do it? Like, why Australia just can't?
Do you know, it's like someone was telling me, so cruises, like when you go on the big P&O cruises, that basically, I don't know if this is true, so don't quote me, but someone told me that alcohol, like they're all cruises are meant to be like alcohol included.
Yeah, all-inclusive alcohol. Yeah.
Except in Australia, where you have to pay extra, you have to buy the drinks package. Because apparently our drinking habits are just horrendous. And it's like in France, like you go out, you don't see, like everyone goes out, but you don't see like people like spewing in gutters and doing all this. You don't see fights, like these massive fights and all that. Like,
just more mature.
We're bad drunks, the Aussies.
Yeah, you'd never see me doing that either.
Same as you pommies.
All right, Jimmy. Great to chat, mate. Really appreciate you coming on the buy round, and I'm looking forward to watching you progress on this coaching journey. And I hope you don't win the Powerball, because I want you to become the best possible coach you can be. And
it's sort of like a rap, you're sort of saying, I wish you the best, but you wish me the worst at the same time.
Well, I'm not wishing you the worst.
Well, because you're saying, I hope your dream doesn't come true, but I wish you the best.
Yeah, because I think if I remain in this sort of style position, I think you, the coach, would be just so refreshing. Because you get some of the coaches and they just, we've all due. And I get why they are that way, but they're a bit vanilla.
There you go. Yeah.
Would you ever? Can you ever imagine you after a loss just being like, not really giving much and just cliche answers?
Probably at some point. But
don't turn into that.
But
person.
then
I've turned into a person I used to hate.
But then you turn into a person. Then you could turn up and you could just sort of keep them guessing,
Yeah,
so like
play games.
Going, I don't know. Is he going to be stoked or?
Yeah, that's entertaining.
Oh, so he got beat by 50. Yeah, how good's life?
Actually, if I'm ever in the press conference and you after a loss and your team's travelled, they'll be like, so Jimmy, which one of the boys will be going out tonight?
All of them.
We'll leave it on that. Thanks again, Jimmy, and look forward to listening to The Journeyman with yourself, Toby Rudolph, the Professor, and Jeremy Latimore. If you like this, I'm sure you'll love that. So I look forward to actually being a small part of that show. I think I've got to fill in for when you're not available. So if you could clear your fucking schedule, because
life of assistant coach, flat stick.
Yeah, I talk enough shit, and those people drag me down. Cheers, lad.
Thanks, mate.